Hello everyone, welcome back to day 8 for this web development course. Today we are going to be finishing our 9x9 grid by adding the animations, and we are going to start working on our about page, which is going to look something like this with one header, some text, and a picture on the left side. So let's just jump right into it and open up Visual Studio Code and open up our websites. So I always forget to do this beforehand, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. Go over to your folder and open up our index file so we can see the progress we're making while we do it. So let's go ahead and open up our website, and it is not opening for some reason, so let's go ahead and go to open folder, go to our website and hit open, and it is still not opening. So let's just go ahead and open our files individually. So today we're going to be needing our index file, and we don't need our styles file today because we're going to start off coding in JavaScript. Now we haven't done this before, so it's kind of new, but I'll explain everything as we go along. So right here, after the body and in between the ending HTML, we're going to add something called script. So we're just going to type in script, and then the ending shows up automatically. And if it doesn't, you can just type it out, \script. So what this is saying is that just like the body we have right here, as like it's saying that every single piece of code inside of this is part of the body section of our website. The script is saying that whatever is getting written inside of this is part of JavaScript. So it's a different language. We're not coding in HTML when we are in these parameters. So now let's go ahead and start coding. Now JavaScript is a little complicated, and I don't have enough time to explain every single little thing about it, but let's try. So what we're first going to do is to declare a constant, and we're going to call this grid items. So this is a variable type, and if you know what variable types are, that's great. You probably have some background coding experience, but if you don't, it's basically like a type of thing. So we're saying that this thing right here, we're naming it grid items, and it is a constant, so it won't change. So we're going to call that grid items, and we're going to set that equal to document.query selector all. So it's basically just going to select everything we have on our website, but we don't want it to select every single thing because we don't want it to apply the animation to every single thing in our website. So now we have to specify it, and in these quotation marks we're going to say our grid item wrapper, because we only want to apply our animations to our grid item wrapper. So if we go to our final website, we see that we only have our animations on this right here, and this entire thing is declared through the grid item wrapper, not the grid items, because the items is referring to all of them, and we don't want every single item to go dark when we hover over it. We only want them to be singular. So that's why we're using the item wrapper. So we have our grid item wrapper, and then let's go ahead and add another section of code. So we're going to say grid item, so we're using this variable we declared up here, right down here, and we'll say for each. And then inside here, we're gonna have our grid item. So this is a different type. It's not items, it's item. It's individual because there's gonna be different ones. And this is going to go, so just hit enter on that. This is going to go to these curly brackets. So this is kind of the syntax of JavaScript. It's a little complicated, and you'll get the hang of it over time. But if you don't, and you can always search it up, or if you have any specific questions, you can always contact me on my email. So we have that right there. So this is basically another function we created, because this is basically saying that for each grid item, so the singular it'll refer back to this. So it's kind of complicated. So here we're gonna add a event listener. So we're gonna say grid item for the item we just created right here, and we're gonna say add event listener. So what this is basically doing is, so we want it to, in our styles function, we had this hover function which said when we hover over this, we want it to do this. But instead in JavaScript, that's called a mouse over. So when we have our mouse over our grid item wrapper, we want it to do this. So we're gonna call that an event listener. So we're gonna listen for this event. So we're gonna call that mouse over. And this event or this function has another purpose, which requires it for a second value, but we are not adding that second value, so we're just gonna leave blank parentheses right there. And then that's gonna go to another function we are creating. And here, because whatever is it, like just like the classes, this is kind of like the classes but not exactly the same, but it's basically saying that if the mouse over is happening. So if we have our mouse over, we want it to do whatever is inside this right here. So here we will want our reference to our CSS class, which we made last class about our image darken. So we're gonna say grid item child node, and this is I'm not even sure what this is completely referring to, but that's how the format is. And then we're gonna say class list. So it's gonna add a class list, and we have to add in there as well. And here we're gonna have our CSS folder, or so CSS file, and sorry, our CSS class, which is in our CSS file. And here we're gonna say image darken, the class we created, which said a transition of 1 second with a brightness of 10%. So I'm gonna go ahead and refer to that. So we have image darken, and here we do need a semicolon because that's just how the syntax is, because all of these had these curly brackets, so they didn't need the semicolons there. But since this is not opening up another pair of curly brackets, we need to have those semicolons right there. And now we're going to do the same thing we just did over here. We're going to do the mouse out. So when the mouse is not over here, we want it to go back to normal. Because if we hover over, and then if we just run this like this right now, if we save this and go here and test it out, when we hover over this, it's not showing up right now because we have not added one thing. But once we add that, it's gonna work. But if we were to make this work right now, if we hover over this, it will just darken, and then when we hover off it, it would stay like that. So we need a mouse out, so when the mouse is not over it. So we're just gonna go ahead and copy and paste this. So only this part right here, and we're gonna say another item, and listener, we're gonna say mouse out instead. And this is going to go to the same thing, but instead of add, we will want to remove the image darken function. So let's go ahead and save that, and let's see how this runs. And it is not working, so let's figure out why that is. And now it is. So let's figure out what the differences were between those two, because I just copied and pasted my notes. So it seems like I did something wrong right here. So let's just figure out what that is. So we had our query selector all, with a grid item wrapper. We had grid items for each. So you're kind of seeing the debugging process right now, but I'm just looking at my notes, so I'm not really sure what exactly happened. Oh, it's not supposed to be node. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's where I'm in the mistake. So it's supposed to be nodes with an S. So that is where it went wrong. So if you have some small mistakes like this, make sure you're typing exactly how it's supposed to be. Like I messed up right there, but yeah. Okay, so now if you hit Command R or Control R, we see that it is working. So that is pretty nice. We have our animations here. And I know this JavaScript thing was really complicated, and if you guys have any questions, be sure to contact me at mehulcm17@gmail.com. So that is how we add our animation. So believe it or not, we are done with our homepage. That's pretty cool. If you guys can change the color, the text, you can change whatever you want on this. You don't have to build exactly how I am. You can change the picture. You can change this logo right here. You can change the amount of darkness. So I can go back to my, let's see, let's open up our styles styles. Visual Studio is not being good to me today. So let's just go ahead and open up our styles file, and here we can change whatever we want. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Like if I want the brightness to be only 50%, when I hover over, I can just hit save on that, and now when I hover over this, the brightness is only 50%. And it's completely up to you. If you want to change this picture here, you can do that. If you can change the picture in the background, you can do that. You have a lot of freedom in this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start setting up for our about page. So our about page is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be, we're going to be setting up our classes today, which is not going to take long at all because we don't need that many new classes. And we're actually going to be finishing up with styles next class, and then we're done with our website. So that's pretty exciting. So to add our about page, if we go back to our website right now, if we click about, all of our navigation bar is gone, and we really don't want that. And it just says about me coming soon because this is what we did in the beginning. So solution is very easy. So what we want to do is copy all of our index. So just hit Command C or Control C, and let's go ahead and open up our about page, so about.html, and we already have our stuff here, but let's just go ahead and remove all that and paste all of our index code. Now what we want to do is just change a few things. So instead of our title being home, we want it to be about, and then we have to remove some stuff here. We want to keep all of our navigation bar stuff, which is our name, our about, our links, so because we don't want our navigation bar to go away when we switch to pages. So we're going to keep all this stuff, but we can remove all of this stuff, all of our content wrapper stuff, because it's going to be completely different. So make sure you're lining up your divs so you know exactly what you're deleting. So it's going to go from all the way down here to all the way down. I'm just trying to make sure I don't delete anything that is important. So all the way down there. So let's go ahead and delete all the ones. Let's check that we have everything in order. So let's go ahead and format this a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and hit tab on all of this, and looks like I have an extra div ender right here by accident that I don't think that's referring to anything. So let's go ahead and and we have our div. Yep, so it is good because this div is referring to this right here, our container. And then we have our navigation wrapper, and we can also remove all of our JavaScript code because we don't need that. So if we hit save on this and go back and hit refresh and go to our about page, our navigation bar is there and it didn't take any work, and it is working. So I didn't mess up all the deleting, so that's pretty good. Okay, and I kind of messed up the formatting here, so I'm just gonna have to fix that real quick. Yeah. I am not doing good with formatting today. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just hitting backspace on all of these. Yep, okay. And we are done formatting. I accidentally hit a tab like that and I forgot the shortcut to get it all back to normal, but here we are. We have our about page almost done already for our HTML coding. All we need to do is add some more classes which will contain our text and our pictures. So to do that, we're gonna go ahead and add our content wrapper. Actually deleted our content wrapper. We kind of needed that, but that's fine. We can just do it again. So we'll say content wrapper, and inside here we're gonna add, we have 2 columns, so we'll also have a 2-column wrapper. Because if we go back to our final website, we see that we have 1 column of pictures, and then our second column is this text right here. So we're gonna say 2-column wrapper, and then we're gonna create another one which is gonna say profile image, or we'll just call this image wrapper. Image wrapper. So this is gonna contain our picture, and then here let's create another class. This is gonna be named our text wrapper. Or I think we already have a text wrapper class. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll just say our content text wrapper. I'll just call it that, so it doesn't get confused when we actually build our styles. And then inside here, we're gonna add a header 1. Or actually, I typed in the wrong one. Okay, so what a header 1 is, it's like a header. I think we already went over this, but I'm just gonna explain it again. So a header is just a regular header. And a header 1 is a little bit smaller than that, and you can do whatever you want. You can do a regular header or a header 1. A header 1 is just a little bit smaller. So here we're gonna say about my name. You can put your name. You can say about me. You can put whatever you want in there. And then here we're gonna have P. So what this is, it's like subtext. So if you go to our website, we see that we have this in really big letters, and then here this is not too big. So we're just gonna say this is under the header, it's the text, is the body paragraph. You know, if we go to our document, we always have our header, we have our body paragraph, and then so that's basically what this is. This is just our text. So we can just type in anything here. I'll say I am Mo Chowdhury. Of course, if we go back here, there's a lot of text here. I don't feel like writing that much right now, so I'm just gonna say I am Mo Chowdhury. Simple as that. Hit save, and Let's also add our image right now. I don't have any new images imported. You could import a image of yourself into that images file, but I'm just gonna use our question mark image again. So I'm gonna say, just like we did when we made our grid, we're gonna say image src, which is gonna be our link, and here we're gonna say images backslash, and we're gonna say we're gonna use let's use our background one, and then let's close this off and hit save, and let's go back to our website and see how it's running. So go to about, and we have our picture, and we have about. So as you see, this is like the header, and this is the subtext, and of course this does not look like this right now because we haven't added any of our styles. So that is something we'll do next class. We are almost done with our website. We just need to add like two or three, four more styles and import our text because this text looks pretty ugly, and we will be done with our website. So that's pretty exciting. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys have any questions, you can contact me at mehulcm17@gmail.com. That's mehulcm17@gmail.com. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.